Thank you all for being here. I'm Tyler Chandler, the Chief of Police, and I'm here with Holly from Flock Safety. We have a very exciting announcement today as we continue to roll out our Flock Safe City initiative. And today it's Flock911, which is an awesome tool. We'll talk about more in a second, but I also want to recognize some people in the room. We have Karen Moore, our Wilson County 911 Director, and her staff, along with Jeff Tunks and Jennifer Hamblin. They serve on the Wilson County 911 Board. Without Wilson County's help through their 911 board, this partnership would not have been possible. And also in the room is Mark Hinesley, President of Chamber of Commerce, and always just a strong supporter of us. But turn it over to Holly with Flock Safety, and she's going to say a few words.
Thanks, Chief. I want to acknowledge that Mount Juliet is the first Flock Safe City in this part of Tennessee. And so you might ask, what does Safe City mean? And what that means is that Mount Juliet is actually going to be a model for an advanced technology-driven police department. This city is getting every piece of hardware and software in the Flock product ecosystem that they need to solve crime. So y'all already know about the automated license plate readers that help find missing persons, find suspects, flag stolen vehicles, provide objective evidence to solve crime. There's video cameras, there's audio detection that detect gunshots that can even tell the difference between gunshots and fireworks. They have a real-time crime center platform that shows all of this out there, and now they have the 911 software. And so Chief Chandler will talk a little bit about the advantage that this 911 software offers the dispatchers and patrol officers as far as speed and information situational awareness of getting to the scene of the crime faster and knowing what's going on. But primarily, I'm just really impressed by this department's commitment to advanced crime solving, so to tech-driven crime solving. Policing is not the same that it was 40 or, even 20, 10 years ago. Policing is now much more objective, it's much more unbiased, it's much faster and more efficient, and so in a department like Mount Juliet, you really can see that in practice today.
Thank you. Holly highlighted our advancement with technology, and again, we wouldn't have this ability without the support from our community, which leads into support from our elected officials because they have invested in our department. They've have invested in us to have access to this technology. And the Flock Safe City initiative, this contract program that we are under, has saved so much money for us because if we're able to keep a city safe, we don't have to hire as many police officers to protect this city. I talk about it all the time. We have 86 police officers, but a normal city our size should have around 140. But we're able to do it with 86, and we're able to do that well and be one of the safest communities in Tennessee. And ever since we started to invest in technology with our license plate readers, we have proven time and time again how that technology has continued to protect our community from those that come from our city from the outside. Over 85% of the people that cause crime and that we arrest in this city do not live here, and we have to always be extremely proactive to continue to protect our community. With that too is with the Flock Safe City, we also look for opportunities about what makes it safer for our community members, and that's where Flock911 comes into play. And it truly is a direct connection between the officer and the person who is calling for help, in an immediate one-way connection. So today, the device in my pocket, which is my smartphone, to the device in our officers' cars with their laptops, when someone calls 911 in our city now, we get a direct connection, and that officer immediately begins to hear that person ask for help. And so what does that do for that response? Well, the officer gets a GPS location of that caller, and they get to immediately begin to respond to that location and hear what the caller is saying. Now, our partners with Wilson County 911, our dispatchers at our communication center still continue to do their job, and they're asking the questions, all the important questions. They're providing the instructions if there's any medical aid necessary for that caller. That job is still being done traditionally, but what we're gaining here is that instant one-way audio from the caller as that officer responds to the scene. It provides a lot more situational awareness, a lot more intelligence to that officer. It makes it safer for that officer because they're able to hear exactly what that caller is saying and pick up on other clues. It puts more ears on the caller. So you have our different dispatchers, you have our officers responding, listening, so they can hear if there's anything they should be concerned about, such as a gun racking, such as screams, such as comments that are being said. So we're just so grateful for this tech. Our officers are excited about it. Me personally, I've been testing it for 2 months. One example where I've used it is I heard a crash with injury come out. I was in the Providence area, very close to that crash with injury, and I was immediately able to go to the crash before it was even dispatched over our radio system. Another example, again, like I said, you can get the alerts on your smartphone. I'm in my bed, about to go to sleep. Our officers begin a search of a suspect, helping our county look for this suspect, and I hear a caller call 911 and say the suspect is in my backyard. So I immediately grab my portable radio and tell our officers they have a 911 caller, the suspect is in this address's backyard. They immediately go to the address and they find that suspect. So that time savings is huge in any type of response. And what we're seeing is we're saving about 3 to 5 minutes in the different responses related to hearing that audio instantly. And it only takes about 3 to 5 minutes for us to arrive on any emergency call within our city limits. Again, this wouldn't be possible without our partnership with Wilson County 911. That's huge, the unity that we have with Wilson County 911 for public safety for our city, and the work that their dispatchers and staff do every day is tremendous, and that's why I want to let Karen say a few words about this partnership.
There's not a whole lot that I have to say because I think Tyler covered it all. The main thing is getting more ears, and I as well. So here, look at my smartphone. We've had several since we started this actually time here. What I would like to say is that since I started last Wednesday, I believe, started listening to the Flock 911 calls come in, I've also been able to look at the Q&A side of the dispatchers and call takers and realize there's areas that we can all improve on. It's kind of like when you do a football game and you go back and you watch it and you go, oh, I could have done this better. Well, this is a part of the Flock 911 that we're going to be able to use. But it's very instrumental. You can have 2 call takers, 2 dispatchers sitting there, and somebody's going to miss something. So the more ears on it, you can have it. But getting it out there, I mean, I'm sitting here, like Tyler said, in bed, and you get a call, and I'm hearing something that I want to make sure my dispatcher's heard. So not only am I hearing it, Mount Juliet police officers are hearing it, because this city, this whole entire city has made sure that they're doing what they can to protect their citizens. And their police department needs to be given the kudos because they are more technically advanced than any agency in this county. And I'm so proud that Wilson County 911 has decided to partner with you guys. And we look forward to the Sheriff's Department, the City of Lebanon coming on board as well, because I think it's instrumental in saving lives.
Thank you, Karen. And that's what we're about. We want to do whatever we can to save individuals' lives. And we know if we have more information on the front end, if we can get there faster, the likelihood of that person's life being saved is even greater. So this is one step of the Flock Safety Safe City initiative. In a couple of months, we'll be announcing the launch of our drone as a first responder program. Phase 1 is coming in about a couple of months, and then we believe we'll have full rollout by this summer. So I'll open it up for questions for Holly and I to tackle if anyone has any questions. I know, Ivan, you said you had a question earlier.
I know this is getting into hypothetical a little bit, but if the 911 system and the drone system had been operational at this point, how would it have impacted your response to the marina shooting?
Sure. I have to be careful what I say about the marina response. The Tennessee Tennessee Bureau of Investigation is handling that investigation, so I can't get into investigative details. But if we would have had that drone instantly on the scene, it would have been extremely helpful for our officers. They encountered one of the most dangerous situations you could ever encounter. It's a dark dock, ice-covered lake, very cold, a lot of sounds. in many different boats, many different obstacles, many different places to hide. How we were able to progress through that incident was the help of drones that we called to the scene. It was a delay because we had to use other agency drones, and the Tennessee Highway Patrol helicopter using the FLIR systems, which detects heat signatures. And because of those tools, which our drone will have those same tools, they were able to detect the heat signatures so our tactical teams could advance further and know where the potential suspect was at.
I guess my question is, will all police officers have access to be able to hear this? And what would be the total cost to them?
So yes, all of our officers have access to hear it. It's on their smartphones that they are issued, that they go in restaurants with, that they keep on duty, but also on their MDTs, their computers in their vehicles, they have access to it. And the protocols is basically if you hear a call for service and you're near to it, then you're okay to go to it and respond to help whoever needs help. Very similar to our protocols with being dispatched a call. Today, our computer-aided dispatch system, the computer system that keeps them organized, does preempt the officer on calls that are potentially pending, and they're able to always check themselves en route and head towards that call should they need to. Obviously, this would require them to get on the radio and say, hey, I'm en route, because the call really isn't even built yet in the system, because that's how fast we're getting the call. It's instant. So someone could be standing in our parking lot today and dial 911, and I'll immediately hear the audio of them asking for help, which is huge. It's a game changer to me. I'm grateful to be one of the first cities, first police agencies in the state to use this technology, and we're just basically setting a new standard, and a new standard for emergency response in our community.
So since you guys are the first, are you guys donating it, or is there a cost to it?
There's definitely a cost to this with any technology program that we have. We've been lucky because we receive significant discounts being an agency to lead with this technology, because we're also working with Flock to make the technology better, but also showcase the technology and how it works with other agencies. So even with our license plate reader program, our camera systems at all the intersections, and our future crime center, different agencies come to us to see how we do things. And Flock knows this, and they want to ensure we have a strong partnership that is financially beneficial for the city for us to acquire such technology and for us to be able to afford it. But I can tell you, if you look at the cost of what it costs to pay an officer, what it costs for a car, what it costs to train them, and everything else that's associated with having a human employee, we have a huge cost savings by leveraging technology to protect this city. Because if I had to hire 40 more officers to protect the city, then that cost would be outrageous, way more than what we're paying for this tech.
The other thing that is nice about the Safe City program that Mount Juliet is on is it's a comprehensive long-term relationship. So if you think about when you get a new smartphone, for example, 6 months later, there's another one released, right? Yours is old, it's out of date. With the relationship of the Safe City program, Mount Juliet is always going to have the most updated technology that Flock Safety has. So we're rolling out the drone program. If we come up with a more advanced drone, we will immediately, with our Safe Cities, replace it to the most advanced drone. So it's a long-term relationship that they're always going to have. Mount Juliet is always going to have the latest and greatest technology.
Chief, what does it say about being able to have the resources to go after something like this? And then also, why does it mean a lot to you and the department to be able to, people already think you're great, but you're getting another notch above.
Sure.
And to be able to, recruit people in the future, just to be able to say, we're trying to get the best equipment possible.
Yeah, with recruiting, our officers love the technology. It helps them do their job. They're able to advance investigations a lot faster, but also the ability to find those who are in our community to commit crime. We find them very, very quickly. It's difficult in situations to use technology when it's a family-type violence, right? When it's a known subject-type violence over a particular dispute, it's difficult there. But where we can work hard as a police department to be proactive and protect people from the outside from coming in here, it definitely helps keep this community safe. And having the support to use this technology is good, and I don't take that for granted because, you know, community support is everything, because the community, they basically give us the power to use these tools and use them effectively, and they trust us to use it properly, right? And I never want to do anything that disrupts that trust, because trust is a high premium, and that we always need to have that trust. But I know by us having this technology, we're able to keep our community safer. And when a community is safe, there are less victims here. You know, and I struggle by saying that today because my heart breaks for the 2 victims over this weekend, right? And our officers were there, likely, when these 2 individuals were killed. We were just searching elsewhere, and we did not find the guy. And I struggle with that. And I know if our officers had the tools that they had, or could have, then the likelihood of us potentially finding this individual would have been greater. But I would have loved to have a drone immediately on scene out there to help these officers look for someone jumping around on cold boats with a gun.
So you know, it's safe to say if you did have these drones at the time, we could have had a different outcome.
I can't predict the future or predict the past or speculate, but a drone on that scene with FLIR that could see heat signatures would have been very helpful to our officers. And it was helpful later. Since we don't have it today, we had to call other resources where they could fly these drones from the scene.
While we're just on the topic, is there anything more you can say about that investigation? I know TBI, of course, is now involved. Anything you can say about the officer that was involved in that shooting?
Sure. So, heartbreaking, right? I don't think we fully realize the impact it has on our police officers, being out there when shots are being fired, them being placed in that dangerous environment, knowing that they very well could be in the same position as those 2 victims. Obviously, we can't do everything perfect to protect everyone, right, and be everywhere at once, and so that weighs on you. And then, of course, the officers receiving gunfire and then having to return gunfire, the level of stress in that moment is extremely high. And so we are doing whatever we can to take care of those officers, take care of the officers on the scene with support systems that we have here, from peer support, everything through our mental health resources to ensure that they're okay. But yesterday, I went out and walked the docks with staff, met with people out there. And the stories from those who live on the docks, they do feel safe. And they said that this is just something that is rare, that it shouldn't have happened, that typically one quote was, they take care of their problems themselves, right, out there. It has a very unique culture on the docks of the people who live there. And while there, I heard stories from our chaplain who helped deliver death notices to families, and just the stories there, it's heartbreaking. I spoke with the brother of another victim who was there to retrieve the boat that his brother owned, and that's heartbreaking as well. But that's why, you know, we're here as police. We do whatever we can to protect our community. And unfortunately, we just can't be everywhere at once and see everything. And that's why we are working so hard to leverage technology, because we see what that technology allows us to do. Technology wasn't in play, but it just shows the risk of what we deal with just overnight. We had an officer spot a suspicious vehicle who he thought could be attempting to burglarize one of the gas stations. They stopped the vehicle for improper display of a tag. In that car are 2 17-year-olds from Nashville, heavily armed. They have a rifle, 3 handguns, ammunition, large capacity magazines, unlawful THC vapes, and a pack of cash, right? And while we don't know their intent, they were in our community. And not to mention they had a ballistic vest and a ski mask in that car. And there are dangerous individuals out there, and our community looks at us to keep them safe. And when we leverage technology, we are just able to keep our community much, much safer.
You said when's this gonna roll out again officially, like all done?
Yeah, it is active right now with everyone. Lieutenant Cothran, who's in the crowd, he's our commander over administrative services, which includes our work with Flock Safety. He's been working with Flock Safety ever since that partnership and does an amazing job with it. But he's the one behind the scenes ensuring everything works right. So right now with our drones as a first responder, we are in the process of training up 10 individuals here, all within our Emergency Communication Center, which is now called the Advanced Response Communication Center, because now those advanced operators do the criminal intelligence, are doing all the research for our officers out in the field to help them be proactive, but also they're the drone pilots that are out there. And these drones, you're not flying them with joysticks like, back and forth. It's a more automated system, so it's very easy to operate from that center. And they're being trained up to be the Part 107 pilots and get their certification to properly fly these drones once they become active here. And Cothran's behind the scenes constantly ensuring those benchmarks are met.
Are those pilots strictly pilots, or do they serve in different capacities to the department?
Sure. We, at our role here, because we are very lean and strong, we look at multidisciplinary employees where we all do everything. We're all trained to do everything, so they have other roles. They answer 911 calls when our normal dispatchers need that help. They're helping officers with the research on the crime analyst work, but they're also doing the drone piloting as well when those drones are needed. Anything else? Y'all good? Cool. Thank y'all so much.